Hey everybody, what is going on? It's Brian with you from the Game Common, and we are playing some Planet Coaster 2. Man, that shot is pretty. So we're going to hop right into it here. You'll notice this episode, we're going to work a lot on the actual structure of the dock. I decided to take a pathway all along the outside. If you watched my last episode, I talked about the difficulties of the pathing system in this game and how I can't exactly do what I want to do. Like RollerCoaster Tycoon 2, I basically made a dock out of a pathway system, but I can't quite do it. So instead we ended up having to go into the building menu and taking actually a roof, and we colored it, and instead of doing brown, the actual Santa Monica Pier is kind of like a brown wood color. I decided to go with gray just to kind of match it as close as I could to the pathway system, because the pathway is not actually brown either. And you'll notice there I can't actually go because the rides and stuff are kind of blocking it, so there's going to be certain holes all the way across, but we're going to end up duplicating this this dock, this top level of the dock, and putting it down below and then filling it in just to kind of, basically I don't want to be able to see the water anywhere because it's supposed to be, a dock. You're not supposed to be able to like fall in, I guess. So that's going to be kind of what we're doing mostly in this episode. We're also going to be building our first building, which is actually extremely difficult because of this whole docking system. And I think I alluded to it in my last episode, but all these different pieces make it so hard to duplicate and copy and move things around and so on and so forth, which you'll notice here in a little bit when we actually work on the building. But right now it looks kind of plain. It doesn't look all that good. I think when we actually finish it, though, it's going to look quite awesome. It's going to be pretty stupendous, I think, because we're going to be having a bunch of buildings and everything, filling in all those blank spots. So you'll see here I'm basically duplicating the lower area and trying to fill it in as best as I can. Felt a little bit like making Lego pieces here, which is pretty good. For my first series though, this was definitely not the easiest thing we could have been doing. I'm trying to remember how many pieces were actually in this quote-unquote dock. It's a couple thousand, I think, which is a little on the ridiculous side, but yeah, we're getting there. So here, man, I'm like choking myself. I think I inhaled a gnat. But here's our first building. I've been watching a lot of other YouTubers. C-Top in particular, I've been following for quite some time. He's someone that's been playing the alpha, and I've been enjoying watching his videos on building structures and stuff. And then there's another YouTuber, and I'm actually trying to pull him up right now on my laptop because I forgot his name, or I can never say his name rather. It's like Silvers or SilverX or something like that. I cannot find it. I apologize. It's totally terrible of me. But anyways, he's like a master of building. And the one thing I notice, or one thing you notice from watching them, is you don't want to just build a structure because it looks kind of plain. So we come in here and we do a lot of different things just to kind of fill it in and make it look really pretty. I came up with this kind of pillar idea, and I really like how those look. It looks just like really nice and cool, and it adds something. Although here in a little bit we kind of actually pull away from it. But at this point I'm trying to figure out different things to actually put around the building, because every building, you just don't have a flat wall. There's always something, whether it's molding or whatever around the outside, just to kind of make it look good. And I think we end up actually deleting this just because I can't get it to snap right. I've been having issues where, well, when I was playing my test game, I was having issues not being able to snap things. Now I have an issue where things won't not snap, and for the life of me, I can't make these things not snap sometimes. So we're having a little bit of issues with that. So here's the fencing thing I'm kind of talking about, and just kind of fill in that top section, which I kind of like. And then I'm trying to get that as close as possible because I was just like one box too short. And then we end up putting an information booth actually on the inside, although I go back and actually change it to a Chief Beef at some point, just because it kind of fit better. And then we just kind of go through the build menu here and start adding some of the random signs that they have. We start with the arrows, and this was kind of a fun situation. Building that one was easy, but then all of a sudden I had to like flip it around, and that was difficult to. The thing with the game is I'm still learning the controls, so everything's going to be a little bit slower for me as we get. This looks like Vegas right there, but it's just going to be a little slower as I'm learning the controls. And I think I come here, and I think I actually do end up sticking with these pillars here. It's funny because you'll notice, and when you watch other people build, you don't really pick this up, but there's like some items that snap and other items that don't snap, and they'll literally be like right next to each other. If you notice down and below, like the one we're actually using doesn't snap, or maybe it does snap. Oh yeah, this one actually snaps, and then we have to go and find one that doesn't snap because it gets really annoying and we can't actually figure it out. It's just... oh, it's so frustrating. Yeah, I had to do it one piece at a time. That was it. Because I couldn't move the whole thing. I think one of the things I'm learning is, because the problem is right now it's snapping to the building structure. So essentially what I need to do is build an item outside the actual building, and then I can actually move the whole item. And that doesn't make a whole lot of sense right now, but it will hopefully actually do it here in the future to kind of to make it more obvious. But basically, anything that's quote-unquote connected to the building is trying to use the building's grid. And so like this, for example, right now, I'm trying to build it, and it's trying to attach itself to the actual grid, and I can never get it exactly right, and it looks kind of terrible. So at some point, I tried making it the second one. I can never even get it on top of the building, which is just kind of ridiculous. And I don't know, there's got to be a way to do this that I'm just missing right now. So if you guys have figured that out, let me know. At some point, I actually delete this and build it off the freaking building structure, and then it makes a lot more sense. And then here we're just kind of adding once again a little bit of flair. Got a little bit of lighting. You'll notice I actually turned on the timer just to get some people in the park. And then here, yeah, we're just building wood structures once again all around the outside. And once again, it's just kind of adding just a little bit of flair. I'm actually really happy how this building ends up coming out. It's gonna be a little bit of time before we actually get there, but it kind of, my wife ended up coming into the room and she's like, that looks like a building in Miami, and it kind of actually does. We end up building like a tiki bar and everything, and it looks really, really cool. I end up actually changing the size. It's funny because there's ladders in the game, and the ladders are under the prop menu, but then these, I don't even remember what these are called, but these are under the building menu. So I kept going back and forth and trying to having to find them, and it was causing me a lot of issues. But in the end, I think it adds just a little bit. The other fun thing is some of these don't actually really color properly because they're technically wood structures. They don't really ever look quite right. So here I am just trying to, finagle it to make it, look as good as possible next to, well, rather to have it on the same size. And you can see me having so many issues here, like flipping things around and getting them just right. It's just like, oh, this game. I love it, but man, it can get really tedious to try doing what you want to do. And part of it, I have to say, is the controls aren't completely clear. What's funny is I actually, for the longest time, couldn't change the elevation of things. Because if you go into the actual settings menu and you look at where it says elevation change, they don't tell you what button to click. Instead, they actually show you pictures of buttons. And the picture of the button they tell you to do is a rectangular button with an up arrow. So when you see that, what do you think of? I mean, personally, I think of the up arrow, and I tried that, and that just moves the camera. And then I tried the number 8 key on the numpad, and couldn't get it, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? And you can see here I'm still trying to get it on the grid unsuccessfully. But it turns out they're actually talking about the shift menu, and I'm like, really? Really? So there I finally got it to disconnect, I guess. Oh yeah, I actually got the whole structure just to move with those little arrows, and there we go. I'm still having issues trying to figure out exactly how to do that. I know how to like duplicate objects, and I think we do it actually right here, duplicate it and then flip it around and then just finagle it. But this is going to be like our nice little planning area, even though if you actually look at pictures of the dock, it's kind of a bit of a cheat, I guess, because there technically aren't any like plant life on the dock. But I decided, well, okay, looking at the picture, there is a little bit of green, but I wanted to add a little bit of green just to get it just a little bit prettier, because there's not a whole lot of things in the game. Like, there's some pirate objects and stuff like that, but for the most part, there's not a lot of props for me to plop down. And you notice, like, our elevation there is still pretty high and ridiculous, and I go back and change that here in a little bit. And I guess this is where I actually changed this from a information kiosk into a chief beef. And the other thing with the information kiosk is, like, I think the only thing you can buy at it is like a fast pass, which we're not planning on doing at all. There I'm checking out the different signs. I decided to go with this one and put like the fire or the police sign on it because it's Chief Beef. He's the lay of the law or something. I don't know. I'm gonna have to actually get a Chief Beef. I'm gonna have to hire one of them to walk around and stuff. But here I'm actually trying to build. Here I'm trying to build a bench, and you'll notice I'm trying to get the right height, but then for the life of me, I cannot actually build it because I cannot select these objects properly because of everything that's going on. Actually, no, maybe I do this successfully over here. I think it's when, oh no, it's when I go to like duplicate and stuff like that I can't do. And this is the stuff that I'm just finding is really difficult right now because we have all these different objects that are right below us, and that being the ground. It's just so hard to select like, hey, I just want the bench right now. And you can see like I'm trying everything in my power and I have to like tell it, no, I want you to do something completely different than the building. And there I go, actually finally getting it, and I save it as a blueprint detail. And then I end up having to just delete it because I can't actually freaking just select it and move it. So I end up having to delete each piece individually and then come over here and plop the blueprint down. And then we're having issue because I couldn't even see it. Like, wait, is this high enough? So we finally get it to the proper height and everything, rotate, get it how I want it. And then I decide to duplicate it. Oh, wait, I can't duplicate it because I'm selecting only the ground. And that's why this is like really freaking difficult right now. So I highly recommend you guys like actually build on the ground. Don't do what I do. Don't try building something in the air like it, because it just makes it really terribly difficult. So I end up just coming over here and plopping down a couple of benches by itself. And then look at how easy it is just to copy it and move it. Like, that's so much more freaking easy. Man, it's just kind of frustrating actually how much time it took. So plop a couple trash cans down, and then I decided to add some, tiki torches all around. And then I'm just trying to add something here just to make it a little bit more filling. And I decided to actually do kind of an overhang here with plants. And this is just like a lot of little time just to make sure these are perfect. And I wanted once again to try duplicating this object and copy and paste it to drag it out and make it wider, and once again couldn't quite do it. So I ended up having just to go back into the build menu and freaking do it manually. And that's the point where it's just like, man, I wish this wasn't so annoying. I suppose I could like delete all the ground and then go, but the problem is the ground is in like 3 layers right now, so I don't really want to do that either. So I guess for now, this is going to be what we're just going to have to live with and do this manually like this. But that came out pretty dang good looking. And then I'm trying to think, did I do the plants? Oh yeah, see, and then here we're having issues trying to actually get it because it's trying to snap to grid. And I'm like, I don't want you to snap to the grid. So I end up building one, pop out of the build menu, and then end up building just like another random one because it's like everything's trying to snap itself to the grid, which, I don't know. There's got to be a way to not actually do that. At this point, I decided to throw some seaweed down. We ended up deleting it. I think we deleted it because I don't think I was a fan with how that looked. And then we put the ivy on top. Like the seaweed I don't mind, but it just doesn't really match the ivy. So yeah, we end up undoing everything and then just putting just the ivy down. And there's like 3 different types of ivy, and so we throw all 3 of those down and go from there. So that's pretty much the extent of it. We'll throw a fence down here in a second. But anyways, I hope you guys are enjoying this series. I hope you guys are enjoying this episode. If you did, definitely hit that like button. Show your support. Hit that subscribe button as well. Join the game comment for more videos like this in the future. That fence. I had to like do the one first and then go with the other ones. But anyways, that's pretty much all I got for this episode. Let me know if you guys figured out anything I missed, and I'll see you guys in a later episode. Bye.